Hey, hey, you guys, what's going on? How long will it take me to tell you of the greatest story never told? I wonder. I'd like to tell you. I'd like to start out right now, figure it out myself, because, well, the thing is that this thing might just take it away from me and you. And usually, my first words are inspirational. They just come right out of my mouth. You know, I don't have any notes or anything to go by. Except we've been doing this for a long time. We really have, and we have found out so many cool things. And I thought it would just be kind of cool, to tell the story of the whole thing from beginning to end in some way. And so I would say that it would be I'm just going to shut up and start talking. So, in the beginning, many, many, many years ago, whenever that was, that that Earth itself was void, and and God hovered over the deep of oceans and stuff like that. But anyways, when it comes down to the making of things, this male and female energy that he creates in us is the lower mind and the higher mind. And it just so happens that because he beckons to her hotel and saying, feed from here, and listening to the devil, that it gets him kicked out of heaven. And before long, he is the Jesus God, or God makes him up some clothing and sends him on his way, kicks him out of heaven. Well, the way it works is that this is just the mind being made. It's just the coolest part of this. It's our mind. And what it says is that, if you're going to hearken to a lower frequency or lower God than me, and it's really talking about it's not a low God. It's the idea that you're going from mother, and then since you hearken to her, this is God. God is two energies. So in this particular part of life, he's made them in their image. The only thing that's not really told to you is that the image of God is both a male and a female. So so people think right away that God made male and female, separate. All he's made is our mind, consciousness. This is what God has made in us. There's not an image, a physical thing. He's not into the skin. He's only into spirit things. And so he's created you, and Adam is called a living soul. So Adam is the firstborn. And this is what we are asked to give back to God. It's our firstborn. And even in the way the stories work, that goes two ways, because he also takes away our firstborn for our first travels. Is that this idea that that when we're born, we only have mother. I mean, we only have father with us, and father is the negative side of God. It's the male side. It's the carnal mind, and therefore we're running around with father. We're running around with the devil, having a great time, enjoying ourselves. We also wind up in church. We learn about Jesus dying for our sins, stuff like that, and that he's going to come back again someday. And so we follow along on this for some time, because this is a type of nourishment. This is where we get some of our comfort from. Our families, they die. This is what sometimes we have to go to church, on Easters and Christmas, and celebrate the death of Jesus Christ, the guy who dies for our sins so that we can live and have a great old time. And so we carry on with this for a good long time. And so we would also find that, we would die in this particular situation and be buried, maybe even in the churchyard, something like that. But the thing is that we find out that it's the body part that dies. This is heaven and earth. Is this your mind, the earth? This is what dies. And his word, your soul, doesn't die. It goes and finds another place to live. And so what happens is we actually, the first parts of our lives, unless you're born right into some kind of religion, you're serving just yourself, call that your mind, just your own mind, your own self, and you're growing yourself, and this is this idea that you're this wild beast of the field, and that you're all on your own, and you just are serve your lower mind, so this would be serving Father first, and then we get connected to, the bitch, the whore on the street, religion. And next thing you know, she becomes our next comforter. She's the comforter, and she comes between us and God. So we become, oh, hey, wow. We love this. We love her. We love everything about the Jesus and the manger, and that he was born to save our lives and stuff like that, for our salvation, and that we have to wait for him, and to wait till the end of times for him. And so 2,000 years goes by, and we find that, he's not there. He hasn't come back yet. But anyways, this is the word, and we follow the word religiously. We follow the word, and the word takes us in this direction of worshiping a dead man, a lifeless body, when we're told not to worship anything like this whatsoever, But this is the image that is given to us. This is lifeless Christ. And this is what we find out later on in life, is the reason for our poverty is that's all we get when we follow the way. And the way is a physical interpretation of a spiritual way, which is about going inside of us and walking with our minds and shutting off the lower levels of our minds in order to get this to come to life. But this does not come easily to somebody because you just don't know it's there. For all of these lives, all of these years, for all of the different religions that you'd come up to, all we are granted is what we see. This was the whole fact. The matter is that, we made a pact before we ever gained skin, that the soul inside of us made a pact with God, which would be a mother and a father, to come onto the earth without her, to come out inside the belly of this devil, and not even be noticed, not even be a part of it. But here we are on the outside, skirting around on the outside by following the word. It's just skirting around the outside, but it is taking you off the cliff and off and onto. And in our Bibles, this is for men, and it's our works. We have to do it. It's one of those neat things about this Bible, is that it both kills us and it sets us free. God works in some mysterious ways. So that one day is over, when that day is over, when we finally become this guy that we can, we figured out, we said, created monsters. This is the fallen angels, is that we created this, that God has his children, his children, which are inside of us, are the ones he's talking about. He's talking about let my people free. You little devils, But at the same time, this was our price. The soul can't do anything without a body. It has to have a body. But to constantly go on and on and on and on and on and over again, well, this is the effects of planet Earth and Saturn, the time, Chronos. He has us around the neck, so to speak. And so with that stranglehold, many people don't have the ability to take this flight within because it's been cut off from them. About right here. And that's the sixth chakra. And in our stories, that's the land on one side and the sea on the other. And that people are just running up and down the sea, the coast, never going off into the water. And so one day we just discovered this. We find, damn it, that this is some nasty water. They call it he sees in the Bible because it's representing, if you're outside again, it's this, the walk, the way, the words, brings us over to the he sees. And where we're looking for the seas that are above the firmament, We want that. We want that space there, and what we get is someone like we get the wells showing up in the stories where someone sitting right by the well and they're talking to God. That's the whole point. They go inside. The well is inside of us. This is where Moses comes to a well and he uncovers the rock so that they can go and put something down deep in there and pull it out. That's really cool. It reminds me of the ibis, and it is. It's the ibis where it searches low down deep there somewhere for its nourishment, and it's in the dark. You can't see it, but he knows it's there. That's what the ibis is about. So, anyways, we find that we were out there to cut off our father's head. This beast of a man, we're going to trick him. We're going to, we're going to betray the flesh. We're going to, go into meditation. We're going to bring the flesh and this bitch, religion. We're going to bring it all up there to him. She becomes this moon. That moon, this area is where we have the water, where we have our ability to go and squeak like the eagles and fly about and stuff like that. It's inside of us. It's this way, and this is our only flight mechanism, and everybody has one. But it's just whether or not you can get it to work for you. A lot of people think they have to clean them out and stuff, and they may have to. There's some problems with, these things won't open up in case, and if you're an asshole, they just won't let you go anywhere. But anyways, as we get going, we find that we run into this idea that Cain kills his brother, and it sets off a chain reaction of things. Whereas if you don't have your brother, you don't have your messenger. There's no one between you and God. And so when we kill our messenger, when we're just running around like this, then we're in this cursed situation where anything goes. And in the story, he's being, Cain is being, no matter where he goes, he's got to worry about someone coming up and killing him. This bounty on his head. That's the coolest stuff on earth, you guys. If you can kill this Cain, when you find him, you kill him, you're going to get a good thing. It's going to reward you 7 times 7 something and 7s and 7s. It's just, the thing is that you're Cain. You find out that it's you. You're the one carrying around your brother inside of you. Yes, you are your brother's keeper. But if you don't know it, then you're also consumed him and you have killed him. And his blood has been drawn into the earth. All right, and this is what causes it, because you've killed your own soul. Has leaked inside of you, and that's it. It's part of the dirt now, which causes it to be dead inside. The whole point of all these stories, from Buddhism to Christianity and Jainism and all these guys, it's about cleaning not just the outside of you, but clean the inside. That's what they want to do. And so, how do I get inside there? Through meditation. And this is how people do, and they get peaceful and cleaned out from the inside out, So when we come to the stories of Moses is the one that takes away, not Moses, Noah takes away this sins from the toiling of the hands and not getting anything out of it, not getting any, because the whole idea is to knead the land. You're tilling the land, and that means to meditate. And what you would do is you're trying to bring that Kundalini energy to life. This is divine, and this is where we feed from. This is what we use for our meat. And this is where we come to get this drink of water, this crystal water. And so while we are working with religion, she's bringing us he seeds. She's considered salt water. And this spoils the seed also. All right? But there's two words where the way to look at this is that religion comes to about to where you got to come to it. It becomes one of these things where you have to be here. You got to pay your money to this. This is putting your silver into the street. And and the silver is this idea that you're handing over silver from your hand. You're handing over silver to religion, to the bitch. You're paying the girl. You're paying her off. That's why she is the whore. All right. But in our world, in this idea of the spiritual world, it's your hand that causes you to make it, because it's in your hand, and your silver is the torso and the arms. So this is where our power is coming from. And so you're not tossing it into the street. You're giving it to God. You're giving it up to yourself in this God thing. And here, this is where you find God. It's inside of you. And so instead of tossing your silver out into the street, which is what we are told to do, that this becomes a situation that we are so familiar with, and we get so relaxed with it, and we haven't been finding God. Everybody's far away, and every weekend we go and get forgiven of our sins by the pastor. This is where we connect with God, men, we are lovers of men, because we should be lovers of women. We should, and in the spiritual way of speaking, all right? That instead of coming to men to take care of us and to grant us, freedoms, and that you're now free of all of your sins, and touch you on your forehead or something like that, eat something and drink something. Well, I did a whole lot of that. I was in a place where I was serving people the wine. I was serving them the food and everything like that. I went through all of that, years and years and hours 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 of it. I did my works. I certainly did. And I got down to the end of everything. Not too long ago. I came down to nothing. This is like 6 or 7 years ago. Nothing. And it was like I didn't know what I was going to do. I had given up drinking and this and that and all these other things, and I wound up homeless and stuff like that, almost sleeping over at the church and things. I got down to nothing, and I think I went through one of these times where it was like, oh, give up. And that's the way these stories work. You'll find that only the meek can inherit the earth, and Moses, a meek person, is someone who just gave up. Oh my God, I can't take it anymore. And that's what happened with me. I wasn't going to tell homeless people what to do anymore at the church. I've still got jobs to do. No one knows what's going on. I still got to maintain something. But everything got down to nothing, and all I really had was this Jesus stuff. And all of a sudden I got opened up to, oh, well, why don't you go and check this out? Why don't you go and look up Bill Donahue, check this out. Something happened. And I started questioning things and stuff like that. Well, everything has gotten better since then. I got down to the end of nothing, to nothing. And it'd be like, your ego has to go through some kind of a clipping, of some kind. And it takes a long time. And so in the process of this here, it'd be like the one of my favorite stories, Christopher, the Christ bearer, is that he's been wanting to serve Lord, so he's gone to do this. He served Father, then he served the devil for a while, which is religion. All right. And then you get the next one. The next one is the work, what it takes to go to find Jesus. And it takes a long time. Long time. And then when you finally get there, it's, I'm ready, I'm ready, I'm ready, you know. Catch me now, I'm young and strong. He says, well, let's not do this. You're not going to be, well, you know. So what he gave him a good job. He said, what if you do this here? And then one day he wears down to nothing. Wears down to nothing. He slips, he's freaking out. The way the story goes is he's afraid, scared. He yells out at the last minute, you know, while he's got the Christ on his back, you know, and he says, he gets out there and he slips up. He says, oh my God. And so, this is always the cool part. It's that kid that was on his back making him heavier and heavier and heavier. And next thing you know, everything is fine. He makes over to the other shore and he looks at the kid and says, damn kid, you about killed me, you know? And that's where the connection comes in. He says, oh my God. And so he's on the other land. He's on the other side. You know, he's made it over to the other side. I made it over to the other side. Everybody gets to make it over to this other side someday. I'm going to believe that. So that there's at least some kind of, well, most of the stories are telling the same, you know. Only a few people gets to come over on the other side. But this is when you birth the child. When Jesus is born, he comes about in this situation where he's born in swaddling clothes. Swaddling clothes means that he can't move. And he's in a manger. It means he's in a I would say a stomach, you know. It's a feeding trough. It's where food is kept for an animal. So yes, he's like in the stomach area, you know, and we know the stomach area. The stomach area in our world is Pergamos, and that's the seat of Satan. So here he is in, you know, the belly of the beast, right there. You know, we don't hear about him for a long time, not until he finally gets baptized by John. And John is an interesting thing because John becomes like the outside him, and we don't get him until, you know, he gets he says, the one that comes after me, he says, I am not worthy to take off his shoes or unlatch his sandals. But what he does is he's sitting there, he's chewing on locusts, he's eating locusts. But you have to understand that his part in the Bible is that he devours, the devourer. That's his part of it. He devours what is a devourer. So he uses it as his own food. And he's 6 months apart. But anyways, one's an outside, one's an inside. And when Jesus is finally set free in this book, in the story, does John the Baptist lose his head? And this starts Jesus on his journey. All right. And so next thing you know, we get down to the very end of the book in Revelations and stuff. Revelations is an eye opener. This is after you've done all your works. When Jesus finally gets through with all his business. When he finally makes it all the way through to the end of his story on the word, he's hung on the cross because the people of earth, the people in his little congregation, this little world, said that they would rather have us, the murder and thieves, kill Jesus, crucify him. We'd rather have this. So this is this idea that the fallen angels, we'd rather have the murderer first. Kill that one. Kill him. Let's make a religion out of him. We'll make sure he's dead. We'll make sure everyone's dead. Everyone that follows him will be dead. That's what we will do. But some ingenious way of writing the story out, we find that this is not really a death at all. Because he doesn't die. He is risen. And in the situation, we find that he didn't go anywhere. Not a hair on his head was hurt, nothing. So we would find that this is about, oh my goodness, this is about meditation. It says, walk through the valley of the shadow of death. And the shadow of death is just a shadow of death. It's not the real death. It's in the shade of the tree So it's where the beast finds the shade under the tree. Well, anyways, this is about meditation. Then I found out all these really cool things. And after about 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, 7 years of farting around in this, do I finally get a wonderful little knock on the head and says, hey, check this out. And now all the wonderful things happen and the world is opened up. All kinds of things. In some ways, I don't have much of, I can't really talk about it. I don't talk about it to many people at all. And when I do, I get this like side eye, you know? So I don't spend too much time telling people about it. And the fact, the matter is that the Bible tells us that most people just can't understand it. And when they do hear it come out of your mouth, they still don't understand it. Something happens. And so, I'm left alone in my bliss, So in that situation, I'm like, man, what can I talk about? What can I talk about? I don't. I just go on being me, going on out there. Knowing very well that I am harboring God and Mother and Jesus, all these energies at one time. Well, what can I do about it? Got nothing else I can do about it except just, I talk to you and I teach you stuff. And, and I worry about it sometimes, because out here, it's just, the truth sets you free. It does. But the truth that we're finding out is kind of mean and horrible. It's kind of like, oh my God, unbelievable. But it is, and we find that it's just a matter of thinking, how you think, how you perceive things, and that's all it's about. And that you do it all yourself. You sit there on the corner of your bed or wherever you go. We find that wherever the carcass lays, the eagles will come find you. If you're lucky, because in these stories they said an eagle came and plucked away our eyes, but that's for the worst. That when they get rid of what's inside of us, there's a famine in the land. Oh no, we don't want a famine in the land. But I'll tell you that once you finally connect to the water source, it never can be taken away from you. It's one place that's always going to be there for you. That's what it's the promise of this, So God can trick you around, God, the lies are from Father by himself. But when Mom's with them, there's only good that can come out of it. Let's hope that this makes it up. It's the coolest thing on earth. Oh, did I finish? Revelations is an eye-opening experience. It's the four business. We have all the four horsemen and stuff like that. It's the four business that we find in our code, and that we're trying to get from black over to white. And in the end of the story, we find that it is the lion that comes into play. He's the last person that gets to rule over you. And that lion is you. You wind up being the lion. You finally get to gain the land that God, to inherit the land that God promised you. And that is he gives you back yourself. It's like being freed by the slave owner. And you're free now. You're a free man. And that's what it means. You have just been given back yourself. And no one or nothing can come between you and God ever again. That's amazing. That's cool as hell. And it should be your desire to be like this, All right, so open your eyes, I love you. I'd take care of you if I could, but I'm just going to teach you how to do this yourself. All right? You got to go do it all on your own. That's what it says. But you can have a helper like myself. All right. I love you guys. Take care.